Are you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
You're successful and stuck. Where are you burned out and standing in your own way? Are you ready to make your finances and your whole life work?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
You are where you are because of the way that you think. You are the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your thoughts.
This podcast is about discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring in your success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are Alex Leanne Carter, founder and CEO of Ambition Unleashed, and Carol Register, founder and CEO of Success Uniquely Yours.
Let's get unleashed and unstoppable.
Hey, everybody. We are so glad to be here with you today and to share with you some amazing information about resistance. And what is resistance? We are excited to tell you what resistance is and how you can deal with it. And there are 5 wonderful hacks we're going to leave you. And let's dive in. Alex Leanne, what is resistance?
I know for me, I feel resistance, like sometimes like anxiety creeping in or this confusion. I mean, for me, I feel it. I feel the angst. I feel the uncertainty. I start to question myself. And I know I'm so excited to talk about this because a lot of times as a high achiever, when you start to feel that, you start to experience some self-doubt. You start to question your decisions and what you're doing. And sometimes you might find yourself really being critical and doing some self-beat up on like, why do I feel this way? I shouldn't feel this way. And being able to shift and the way that you look at this, the way that you embrace the resistance, the way that you get to celebrate it, I think really has made such a difference for Carol and I and our clients in becoming unleashed and unstoppable. So I'm excited to dive into like what those 5 things are that really supported us and our clients to be able to lean into the resistance. We say this, I think, to our clients a lot, like get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because that resistance is an indication that you're playing big, that you're leveling up, and that you are truly on the path to create that life, that success, that wealth that you know that you want to be creating and experiencing.
That's right. And I love the way you speak into this. Resistance comes up all the time. You're right. We all experience it. And it is going back to what we talk about quite often, our brain trying to keep us safe. Now, when you start to up level and grow, you're taking your brain out of its familiar zone. And the familiar zone is what the brain sees as safety, because the brain's job is to protect our automated system. And we really get excited about helping you to understand this system and what's happening. It's like knowledge is power, right? And when you know what your brain is doing, it's wonderful then to be able to work with your brain and help get you onto the discomfort of growth. And I speak about the discomfort of growth a lot. We both do. And the part about that is what you were just saying, Alex. It's not meant to be a miserable discomfort. It's meant to be a discomfort where we know what's happening and we're embracing it and getting really excited about it. And we want to bring you today 5 hacks for when you are facing the resistance. The resistance is going to come up because you are committed to growing and up-leveling. And what are some ways you've seen resistance show up, Alex?
Oh my goodness. Most recently, I had a client experience resistance because of this feeling of needing to commit to change. There's a quote out there that says resistance is the first step to change. And so when you are going to do something different, when you're going to do something new, last episode, right, that whole interruption, getting you out of autopilot, doing things differently, that's going to require change. It's going to require to do things that you maybe haven't done before. And so that is it. It is the change. Like there is oftentimes this resistance to change because your brain is so programmed to keep you safe. And I like to talk about, speaking to this a lot, about being the box. So where you currently are right now, you're in a box. And where you want to go, that's completely outside of the box that you're currently in. And the resistance, I feel it's like the walls of the box. So as you're approaching the edge of the box that you're going to break through, right, become unleashed, you are getting to the edge of the box. And so your brain's going to communicate with you and talk to you. And you probably feel uncomfortable. This is what I've seen a lot with my clients lately. They are really clear on what they want, or maybe they're clear on what they don't want. And of course, we always focus on shifting to what you do want. But maybe you're really clear on what you don't want. You know, there's something, you're feeling unhappy. There's just something that we talked about last episode, not living in alignment with your values. And yet you're still choosing to stay where you are because your brain is keeping you safe. And it's when you're ready to embrace the change. I think that's what it is, right? Embracing it, being like, yeah, let's like bring it on, that you're able to shift and be prepared and be ready for what you're going to experience. And I know we're going to talk, like one of the things is about celebrating that resistance, celebrating your brain for wanting to keep you safe, acknowledging it. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough as a high achiever. It's just part of that process. And so it's acknowledging that. I think that's right. That's honestly the first step is that acknowledging piece for a high achiever and being aware of that. And I know you're going to dive into a little bit more about the A's, right? So that awareness piece, the acknowledgement piece, and just leaning into that. And so when you notice yourself saying that, it's about getting curious, right? It is about getting curious. So where do we go from there, Carol? Like if we're having this awareness, we are acknowledging this resistance, where do we go from there?
Well, I think you leaned into something that's so important, and that is that our brain is literally flooding us with neurochemicals to stay stuck. So it's like we've got a brain that's working to protect this automated system, and it's pulling out all the stops. And I have seen resistance show up in some amazing ways. I mean, everything from lack of sleep to maybe a headache to just having this feeling of, what the hell am I doing? And so it's really important to be aware of resistance. And that when you choose to grow, that this is going to happen and it is a normal process and there are things you can do to deal with it. And you mentioned, Alex, acknowledging, being curious. So I love this curiosity piece. This is where we get to release judgment and just start to approach things with curiosity. Why am I feeling this way? Why is this coming up right now? What's going on? Why couldn't I sleep last night? That's one that I have been hit with. So that's the reason I recognize that one. And when that happens, I can pretty much bet you it's resistance. And when I take that time to be curious and say, what's happening? Then I can really lean in and I can say, hey, thank you, brain, for trying to keep me safe. I just really appreciate you working correctly, doing your job well, and we're growing. We're safe. We're on our way. As our mentor used to say, we're safe, little buddy. I think that's so important to take that first step and recognizing that it's temporary. That's a second important hack that we can lean into. What are some other hacks that we can lean into, Alex?
Well, celebrating it. I know as funny as that may actually sound, but like Carol said, your brain is consistently releasing different types of neurochemicals. And so when you're able to celebrate where you are, celebrating the resistance, because the resistance is actually a way to indicate that you're playing bigger, that you're stepping into your power, that you're being bold, that you're moving your goals and your dreams forward, that you're taking action. And though it might be uncomfortable, like Carol just said, it's temporary. And so when you can acknowledge it, feel it. I think that's the other thing is like really feeling it. So feeling it, acknowledging it, like releasing judgment. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's actually something that you get to celebrate. It completely shifts the focus because it becomes a win, which for high achievers, we're all about achieving and accomplishment and that feelness for achieving. This is actually a way of achieving as a high achiever when you're playing big, to feel that resistance because you're doing something different. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're pushing on the sides of the box and you're pushing through to unleash yourself from that box. So it really is something that you get to celebrate.
I love that. And another way that I've heard it put is we lean into celebrating the breakdown because the breakdown means the breakthrough is right there. And that is such a fantastic picture of the box and pushing out on the walls of the box, because it's great when you know the brain is designed and wired for reward. So it is a fantastic hack to celebrate. And we will do an episode simply on celebrating alone, because you can break celebration down into so many amazing things, including micro and mini wins. It might be as simple as you paid that bill today that you've been resisting or sent that email. But those are things that are important to acknowledge because they are an indication of your growth and you're moving through this resistance that you're experiencing. We also want to talk about being able to acknowledge and embrace the discomfort we mentioned before in a way that is like we're getting comfortable with the discomfort. We're bringing that into our comfort zone so that the brain sees that as safe simply by acknowledging that it's okay to be uncomfortable. And discomfort doesn't have to be a miserable thing. When you know that your brain is working for you, when you know the resistance is coming up because you are playing big, because you are going for it, and you may feel like, what is going on? I'm not enough. Why am I doing this? I don't think I can handle it. It's going to be too hard. All the things that come up as resistance for us. And you can literally say, no, I'm okay with this discomfort. I know what's happening. I'm on my way to breakthrough. Yeah.
Well, I think you and I were celebrating because we've been experiencing this a lot. I mean, we launched the podcast, and that's another way of putting yourself out there, playing big. And I know that you and I have both expressed feeling a bit of the anxiety, feeling a bit of the thought of the noise, the chatter, right? The internal dialogue. And I know that you and I have both on multiple occasions said, like, celebrate it, being like, I'm leveling up. I'm playing big. This is my brain doing its job. I had a mentor a couple of weeks ago as well speak into the only way to, I guess, move through the resistance is to actually go through it, is to actually move through it. And a lot of times we see time and time again where you put yourself out there and because of the resistance that shows up, you fall back. And so you find yourself with this, like your foot's on the gas and the accelerator at the exact same time because you're going forward, you're coming back, you're going forward, and you're coming back. So to become ultimately unleashed and unstoppable, it's literally putting the foot on the gas pedal, embracing the resistance, acknowledging it, celebrating it, and then just going through it. Because on the other side of that resistance is greatness. On the other side of that resistance is the results that you want to be creating. And so it's the acknowledgement piece is so huge. And I want to say just one thing here. When you notice that, like, this is the power of having an accountability buddy, a coach, a mentor, someone there, because the resistances can be scary. You know, we talked in our last episode a couple of weeks ago about the fear, right? The fears that are coming up. And so when you can have somebody there to support you and guide you through the resistance to basically catch you on the other side, it's going to make a really big difference. And so please know that you don't have to feel the resistance on your own. You can join the Diamond Transformation Group. You can connect with Carol and I, knowing that, first of all, you're not alone, because a high achiever often feels that they're alone. Like, you are not alone. Like, if you are playing big, resistance is part of the process. That's why we want you to encourage you to celebrate it, because like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's all about getting comfortable with that uncomfortable, getting comfortable, leaning into the resistance. So I don't know. I'm sorry, Carol. I just get so excited about this stuff because before I experienced the burnout and just as the high achiever and really looking at this and looking with my clients of what is causing them to stop? What is causing the stop, start? And it's because the resistance is uncomfortable.
Yeah. The truth of it is that in order to be unleashed and unstoppable, you are going to experience resistance because your brain is working the way it is supposed to work. And having these hacks ahead of time to be able to know that it's temporary. Most strong emotion comes in 90-second bursts. We now know this from neuroscience. And so you may really be feeling it, really be feeling the grunge, the doubt, the fear, the resistance as it comes up. Just lean into it. Know it's temporary. Get curious. Acknowledge that it's there and move into celebrating it and being excited about it and getting comfortable and happy about being in the discomfort. These are the 5 hacks that are so important and powerful as we push out on the sides of the box, as we move forward with being who we truly are. Because really, bottom line, becoming unleashed and unstoppable, that's what it's about. It's about you being truly you. It's about you being able to be unleashed, to be fully confident in who you are and what you have to offer this world. And we're super excited to help you discover that and bring it out.
So, listeners, here's my invitation for you today. I would like you to think about the last time that you felt some resistance, and I want you to celebrate it. Like literally celebrate it. Acknowledge yourself, because that shows that you were playing big, and really just embrace that and see that is a sign that you are playing big, that you are leveling up, that you are on your way to becoming unleashed and unstoppable. So that's my invitation to you is celebrate it. Your brain loves the dopamine when you get to celebrate, and really write down these 5 ways to embrace that resistance and to lean into it. And if you like me and like to have quotes up on your wall or in your office or on your phone, celebrate getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and leading into that resistance. So we want to invite you to, of course, like this episode, subscribe below. Can follow and connect with me on Instagram at alex.leanne.carter. And Carol, where can our audience find and connect with you?
Our audience can find me on LinkedIn at Carol Register, on Twitter, Carol Register 9, and the Success Uniquely Yours Facebook group. Although I was going to say there's some fun changes coming there, and there are, but jump in now while you have the opportunity.
All the links will be available in our show notes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Unleashed and Unstoppable, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.